Joining us now, Chef Tom Woodbury is a retired TV chef and food safety advocate. You may have seen him on Shop NBC or ABC4. Tom, thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me today, Steve. Look forward to chatting, and thank you for the great work you do on behalf of consumers in your market.
Aw.
What a great job you do.
I appreciate the compliment. Thanks. So, Tom, I wanted to talk to you today. Obviously, the restaurant industry has changed in that it's closed and there's curbside and pickup only. But do you think that this COVID pandemic is going to permanently change the restaurant experience in America?
Yeah, I do, and a lot of the industry experts, the analysts, believe that as well. The biggest thing, and this is something you would think we would had always have been more worried about, which we say we are, is cleanliness. And the more a restaurant cleans, the better, frankly, the better off it's going to be. Even today, people are more likely to go to a restaurant that they perceive as cleaning better, which seems pretty 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 straightforward to you and I. But the more restaurants clean, the more they document that they clean, and frankly, the better job they do in it looking like they're clean is going to be a huge impact
We
on the
always
restaurant
had,
industry.
yeah, it is. And we always had things like you got the health grade report, or you would see it on TV, like, oh, they were keeping food at improper temperatures. That kind of thing puts people off. Sometimes there's a follow up and hey, we got an A on our reevaluation. But listen, if it comes out after restaurants reopen that several COVID-19 infections occurred at a restaurant, I mean, you talk about a nail in a coffin. So the onus for restaurant managers and owners to make sure that the cleanliness is, amazing is going to be really strong, I would imagine, right?
Well, it certainly is, and I don't want to imply that if a restaurant has a COVID outbreak at their facility that it's because they are unclean. Because
Sure,
unfortunately,
sure.
viruses are such a pesky little pathogen that it's hard for them to say, well, wait a second, you didn't mop your floors and everyone got COVID. But there are
Mhm.
things
Yeah.
that restaurants can do that make sure that things like cleaning all the little touch points you do, the doorknobs, the water fountains, the restroom baby changing tables, things like that. The restaurants that do that are going to weather this a lot better than those that aren't.
Do you think that we're going to see bigger steps like that? Do you think we'll see plexiglass surrounding tables or booths? Do you think we'll see separate seatings? Do you think we'll see tables spread extra far apart? How far do you think restaurants are going to take it, and what's reasonable in your mind?
That's a great question, Steve. The challenge we have in the restaurant world is your margins are generally, if you're good, in the high single digits. If you're really good in the low teen digits, and to do things like spread out tables, to put up barriers between tables, things like that cost a lot of money, and frankly, it's money that most restaurants don't have to spend. So short of help from grants or whatnot, any of those things are frankly they're going to be hard for restaurants to do. I mean, I think the real concern at this point is how restaurants are going to recover at all. Just to give you an idea, right now, a lot of the data analysts think that if this were to end today, 15% of restaurants wouldn't come back. They wouldn't reopen. And obviously, the longer this goes on, the bigger that number gets.
Surely.
So it's your guess is as good as mine what it's going to look like. But you're dealing with an industry with not a lot of extra capital, and forcing those types of restrictions on them, it'll make it very difficult to operate unless we're all willing to pay more for food.
Yeah, okay. Retired TV chef Tom Woodbury and our guest. He's also a food safety expert. Here's an interesting thought. Okay, let's say I've heard estimates up to 30% of restaurants will close. Now, everybody knows that sometimes there's a restaurant in your neck of the woods and it like cannot stay open. It just in normal times. And first it's like keeps changing hands and it's one restaurant after the other and it can't survive. So, but I feel like, okay, if we lose 15% of restaurants, certainly that's a tragedy. I don't want to see that happen. But there will be others that pop up in their place. But here's my question: like, when do you take that chance? These 15% go out of business, right? I'm a entrepreneur. I want to open a restaurant. I'm not going to spend the money and do the, put in the effort until I feel like it's really, really safe. And in my mind, that's probably well down the road after a vaccine. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens there, right?
No, I think you're absolutely right. And when you look at consumer studies, once this is over, restaurants aren't going to be the first thing people start spending money on. They're going to go to the hair salon. They're going to go to the gym. They're going to go get the massage and the nails done. And so that share of money, to your point, Steve, is not going to happen right away in restaurants.
By the way, all that sounds
deciding
amazing. I
whether,
want to have all that
yep,
done right now.
deciding whether or not to invest money in a restaurant it's a risky bet right now.
Yeah.
And it could be a risky bet for a number of years, depending on how long this goes on.
Do you think we'll see like a proliferation of in-home chefs? Is that going to be? I mean, some cool things could come out of this. There could be people that
Mhm.
say, "I'm going to travel around in people's homes, bring the groceries, make dinner for them." We did that once here, where we brought in somebody. It was we met her at a cooking class. She was so fun. We had her over to the house, and we had like a small gathering. She did a cooking class. But what about that idea? Like chefs coming to people's houses to make dinner. Do you think we'll see any of
Personal
that?
chefs, that's a great way for people to make money in the restaurant world or in the food world post COVID.
Mhm.
If you or I want a nice meal and don't want to cook it ourselves, the idea of only having one person coming into our home versus us going out and possibly being exposed to hundreds of people, that's an appealing perspective. That could be a great way to have a nice meal without being exposed to so many pathogens. It's insane that we go from our main concern on where we eat now is the likelihood of whether we'll be exposed to something, a virus or a bacteria or not. But this is the world we live in today, right?
It is absolutely. Last question for you, Tom. Last month you were looking into an app for restaurants to beta test that would help them deal with sanitation requirements and employee wellness checks specific to this virus. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. The one that I found to be the most effective is one called Compliance Mate. Website is compliancemate.com. They've got a great tool that, and I should disclose some personal interest in that. So let me be 100% crystal clear. But the app itself helps restaurants know what sanitizers to use, when to use them, where to sanitize, if an employee comes in and is sick, when they should exclude an employee from work, what they should watch for in their employees, when they should exclude that employee from work because of fever, cough, exposure to COVID-19, things like that. But the app does a tremendous job in helping people that operate a restaurant to stay up to speed on all the different requirements. One of the biggest challenges we're facing right now in the restaurant industry is that the requirements are changing on an almost daily basis for what you should do to effectively deal with the COVID-19 outbreak. And the Compliance Mate app does a phenomenal job in keeping up to speed on CDC recommendations, FDA recommendations, as well as recommendations from health and food safety experts, so that a restaurant can be confident that they're doing everything they can to keep food safe in these very trying times and really protect their customers and guests. I mean, that's ultimately what we as restaurants care about, is we want our guests to be healthy and happy. And it's incumbent upon us to do everything we can to make that happen. And this app, Compliance Mate, does a phenomenal job in helping restaurants stay up to speed on all the different things they need to do to keep their guests happy and safe.
All right, TV chef and food safety advocate Tom Woodbury. Thanks very much for your time, Tom. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys. Have a great Saturday.
All right, you also.